This is CDL Laws that needs to change. I had to redo this because I talked to my brother as a CDL driver and got his opinion off of it. And I only asked him about the two of them. That's why I had to redo this video. Now I'm going to go down through here. I'm going to have to scratch what I wanted done. And number one here is if you have a clean background, you're licensed to carry a gun, I say it should be all 50 states. If you're driving over the road in a CDL truck or non-CDL truck, you're sleeping in your vehicle like a Sprinter van, a box truck with a sleeper, or an extra cab where you make a little bed behind the seat. If you sleep in that truck, you should be able to carry a gun, a handgun, because there's no way you're going to be moving around a shotgun. And what I would do, if there's, say, 12 to 15 in a clip, half of them would be blanks. When you pull that trigger 3 to 6 times, they will be blanks. You don't know when the real bullets will come, because I sure ain't going to say the first 3 bullets is going to be blanks, the rest will be, or 6 bullets will be blanks. I'm not going to tell you. I will know when the real bullets are going to be flying. That's why you do not let the bad guys know the truth. I would 3 to 6 blanks. So all I want to do is scare the person away. You break my window, that's on you. I would put a sign in my truck on the passenger side door and the driver's side door. Enter on your own risk. I do have something that you will not like. Beware of dog sign. Beware of owner with a gun. Something. You might not have a gun or a dog, but when somebody sees that in the window and go, ooh, let's skip that truck. Because you never know. You break that window and the dog's right there, your ass is lunch. It should be your option what you want to carry to protect yourself. But the government wants to protect the illegal people over us. And we need to put our foot down. So I would carry, if I was over the road, a handgun, a taser, a mace, and a bat. And you can use one of those. I had to get this. Now, this is in all truck stops. It's called a thumping stick. You check your tires. Keep this beside you when you're sleeping, and when they come in, pop! Right in the head. I wouldn't care if it killed them. This can be your best friend when somebody's reaching in to grab you or try to take over your truck. This tool right here. And it says tire knocker number 35110, made in USA. That could be your best friend. You can also use it to pop them in the forehead. Safety first. Get your little ratchet strap. Wrap it around your door handle from one door to another. Hook them. Ratchet tight. They would have to reach all the way in the truck, halfway in the truck, to undo it or take it and cut it. By that time, you got this, crack them in the forehead and then falling out the truck. That's just what I would do. Call the cops and says, well, you need to pick this guy up that's outside my truck. What did you do? He reached in the truck and I thumped him. That's number one. Driver has the right to defend themselves over the road. I would not go into New York or California with a handgun. Number two is, I want to know why they came up with 26,000 pounds is under CDL. I'm going to demand that 30,000 pounds and over should be CDL. 29,999 should be under CDL. I think they need to redo their freaking weight limits. Freaking, you're hauling a 1-ton dually and you're pulling a gooseneck trailer and hauling 3 cars or 4 cars. Should be still under CDL. You have 4 Chevy Cruzes that weighs 1.5 tons each. You should be able to haul 4 of them on a gooseneck trailer and it should be legal for under CDL. That's what I want changed also. And if you agree, leave it in the comments. Am I right with the gun laws? And your 26,000 should be moved up to 29,999, and 30,000 should be CDL A or B. Now the third law, overweight limits. Why does the driver get charged for overweight ticket when he has no way of controlling how they load the trailer? And if he's pulling that trailer to the weigh station and he gets busted, it shouldn't go against the driver, it should go against the company. And the company needs to get a $5,000 fine. And so many of them will automatically trigger the $10,000 fines. Because what they need to start doing is forcing them to put a third axle on the trailer. If they're going to start getting overweight tickets, the best advice for companies to have 3 axles on the trailer. That's what they need to start doing. If I had a CDL truck, me having a CDL truck, I would have to have, and this is what I would do, I would own a truck with a big sleeper, make it roomy enough where I can live in that truck. I would have one main axle, and then I would have 2 of them that I can flip a switch and raise those 2 axles off the ground and keep that one drive axle on the ground when I'm not pulling any load. Same thing with my trailer. 3 axles. When I flip those switches, both of them axles come up, plus the 2 axles on the trailer goes up at the same time by 1 or 2 switches. If I flip one switch, it would be the 2 back axles dropping down, truck and the trailer. I flip the second switch, the switch in front of that one, that would drop the front axles on truck and trailer. That's what I would do. If I'm going to have a heavy load, those all axles are down. If it's going to be, say, under 80,000 pounds, I'll just drop the 2 axles down and leave my 2 axles up to save on tire wear. Then I'm going down a mountain or curvy road and I want some extra braking power. I drop them two axles down, give me some braking power. That's what I would do. And have all 3 axles, drive axles. When I flip that switch to go from one axle to another, having it set up where you can have 3 axles going. That's the setup I would want. But that's just me. Or have 3 axles on the truck, not the steer axle, talking behind the cab, should be 3 axles, plus my trailer. Unless I decide to have 4 axles on my trailer that I own. Have one solid sliding axle that gives a little bit more room in between the axles, where you can actually slide in between the tires to get up underneath there and adjust your brakes. I would move the axles a foot more from each other so you can actually get yourself on a creeper. You can slide up underneath the trailer and adjust your brakes. You should be able to slide in between any trailer axles and tires to adjust things, like your slacks of your brake, how you call it. It's different between a semi and a car. It's not caliper. It's your air chamber or whatever. You got your movement. And I forget it has to at least move an inch, I'm thinking, or an inch and a half. I mean, all drivers should know how to block their tires on trailer and truck, release the brake, and should be able to move your brake thing to see your movement and then adjust it with your tool. All drivers should be able to do that. If their brakes are not strong enough, they need to adjust their brakes. They're not the same as cars. That's just me. Number 4, the law is 11 hours of driving time. I said it should be 15, and my brother has a point. In a 24-hour period, you should do 12-hour shifts if you got a second driver. So the driver can drive 12 hours and then the other person can take over. Or it could be every 6 hours of driving and you're switching. So you're not constantly driving the whole 12 hours. But on the other hand, you should have an option between 12 and 14 hours of driving time. If you go to 14 hours, you have to be off the clock for 10 hours. So you drive for 14 and you're off 10. You do 12 and you're off 10. Because that's a solid. So I was going to say 15, and I'm seeing my brother's point of view. They should move it from 11 to 12. And if you're driving by yourself and you are looking on your phone, and you go, there's a nice rest stop about an hour or 2 away. You can actually get to that nice place where they don't bug you. They don't say, oh, you can't park here. And if going 11 hours, I ran out of time. Well, I pull over to sleep and I get harassed by me sleeping in a parking lot, or I get a boot put on my truck because I ran out of hours. I would sue the store that I pull into, and it's big enough and there's no cars in that parking lot, but the store still wants to be a dick and put a boot on my tire. I pull out my freaking whiz wheel and cut the sucker off. That's just me. Or have another tire on my truck where they can't get to it, and I switch that tire out and put that tire back in there and then take off. Or I'll sit there and sue whoever put that on my truck, and I would sue that store that's making my life harder over something I'm trying to do. And what I'm trying to say is everything that people buys was and did on a semi. Your house you bought it's hauled on a semi or straight truck. It is always done. Semis bring stuff to Lowe's, Home Depot, any hardware store. Then they load it up on their flat truck, straight truck, and they bring it in and they drop it in. Even they got semis that comes in with one of them 3-wheelers. It's still a semi if it's one of them trucks or a box truck, cargo trailer. It's everything you buy has been or will be hauled on a semi. And just like if you stopped somewhere to buy something, some of these gas stations don't like semis. If they're going to be harder on semis, when somebody's stopping to use the restroom, get a drink, buy some food from, what's that company called? Be something. It's a stupid ass name. Bigsby or Bidby or something. And they're talking about how they're so harder on semis. Or you're bobtailing and you pull in, diesel pump. I'm about out of fuel. I pull in to get fuel. Oh, semis are not allowed. And I'm pulling a trailer. And I'm going to buy 200 gallons of fuel, plus buy me my drink and food to eat, and you guys going to make $100 off of me? You can kiss my ass, and all semis should ban or boycott any companies or gas stations that are harder on semis. That's what my thing is. Screwing the freaking semi drivers when they're trying to make a living. Oh, we hate semi drivers. Well, everything comes to you on a semi, but you want to be so harder on a semi driver? Fine. Have a company. We're not bringing you fuel for your gas station. We're not going to bring you your pop and chips and all your stuff to your stores. If you want to be harder on a semi driver, I think companies need to stand up and go against truck stops or gas stations that are harder on semi drivers. Because all they had to do was come in and block the pumps and block everybody from getting the pumps and just park the suckers. That's what it will be. Truckers fighting back. And when you have wreckers coming in to hook up to the trucks, that's when they pull out their shotguns and say, you touch and hook up to our trucks, we'll shoot your trucks. It's going to get to that point one day when truckers had enough. That's my opinion. The last thing I talked about earlier throat's getting kind of dry. If I wanted to buy a semi, it would be 3 axles on my truck, and it'll be also 3, maybe 4 axles on my trailer if I own one. My thing is when semis are going from hub to hub, means like mail, shipping from one place to another city. It could be UPS, FedEx, Amazon hubs. When you are pulling trailers, this is my opinion for shipping more stuff. And to me, companies can make money and save money. Make more and save more. They can do this on turnpikes, and I think they should do it more than just turnpikes. I think there's a turnpike going from Toledo to Cleveland. Well, I think they need to start doing it more. I think they need to have 60-foot trailers, 3-axle trucks, and 3-axle trailers, maybe 4-axle trailers. So you can't get an overweight ticket. Stop maxing out the axles. Make it where you cannot, like my dad and me and my dad's boss, he always made the truck where you had more with having a truck with a drop axle. And the tank that was on that truck be stronger. The weight limit on the axles was bigger than they were supposed to be on the truck for the tank size that he had. So he had like a 30,000 gallon tank, or was it a 2,900 gallon tank? And he had a drop axle, so he could never be overweight. He can max that sucker up and have it, at half an inch from the top of the lip. Shut the lid on top of the truck. He wasn't overweight. He can get a weight. They can weigh him, never get busted, because you're making the truck resist from being overweight. Companies need to stop maxing out their brakes or their axles. So to me, they should have 3 axles on their truck and 3 axles on their trailer. If you have a 60-foot trailer, the trailer should have 4 axles on that trailer. That's just me. And what they need to start doing is like you're going from Cincinnati to Kansas, and the driver can make it out there. He should be allowed, by an option of somebody that's been having their license more than 10 years. Would you want to pull the second axle or trailer behind you, 2 53-footers, and pull 2 trailers out to Kansas with no wind? You can't do it on a windy day. And say that you see no wind, the flag ain't blowing it that much. Hey, do you want to take these 2 trailers from Cincinnati to Kansas and make an extra 25-50% more on your pay? Well, yeah, I'll do it. Companies saving money from having a second driver drive it. They're saving fuel of a second truck. Stop turning the trucks down and start having trucks that has 500-600 horse engines that can handle 2 trailer loads and ship them out to Kansas, drop them 2 trailers. You have two guys in a truck waiting for those 2 trailers. One picks up a trailer and go north for like 6 hours north. And say the one guy grabs the trailer and goes southwest and drops the trailer down there. Rehooks and brings another one back up to that same location. Same thing with the other guy. This guy sleeps for 10, 12 hours and gets ready to come back to Cincinnati. He got 2 trailers from those 2 guys again going back to Cincinnati. That's what they can do to make more money and save money. Because companies can save from having a second truck, insurance on that second truck, more fuel for a second truck to run, because you can burn less fuel having one truck pull 2 trailers, 2 full-size trailers, not little 30-footers. And you should be able to run more weight with less fuel. Because you're already moving, it takes a little extra for pulling that second trailer. And I would say you would burn probably another 10, 20% more fuel by pulling that other trailer. I'm just guessing. That's where you're going to save money. And you got these college people who's like, oh, if you turn the trucks down and turn the horsepower down, you'll save money. This is another thing my brother did. He ran side by side, not side by side, but behind the guy, or the guy was behind him, or it could be side by side. They went like 100, 200 miles before they split off. He kind of, hey, what's your gas gauge right now? My brother truck was turned down horsepower. The other guy was running factory specs, not turned down. That truck ran better fuel mileage than my brother did. Turning the trucks down doesn't save money except for insurance companies. And they shouldn't turn down the horsepower. They should govern the trucks to a certain speed, not turning the horsepower down. Well, the truck has got 500 horse. Let's turn it down to 400 take away 100 horse. When you have a grade and the truck's going up a hill, and you turn a truck down, it takes more power shifting down to get the right gear ratio to pull the hill. And the truck is lugging up the hill because you program the automatics. And an automatic is just nothing. If you don't know how to drive a stick, you're not a semi-driver. I just put it in drive and just go. You're not a truck driver if you can't. I've been around trucks. I've moved trucks before. I hooked trucks up. I can drive the truck through the parking lot and back it back in the hole and psh. A little bit more experience and I guarantee I can pass the driving test. Just getting used to the truck. That's all I need. I drove a squirt truck with my dad. Well, there's some things I'm not going to say, but while he was trying to get a little bit of sleep, because we worked, I'm not going to say how long, but we worked some long hours to make the money we did. He would get an hour's sleep of rest, and I would pull the hose around and fill trucks up, move the truck, fill some trucks, get in and move it up 50 foot, hit the air brake or parking brake, and do it again. I had to fill up 100 trucks. I got to the point where driving a truck, I would go through all 4 gears and hit the Jake brake in between the gears. I can downshift without the clutch. I can shift without a clutch. That's a truck driver. I can do that. But you got people, oh, I can only handle an automatic. That's not a truck driver. And they're talking about bringing the sticks back. And they should. Having the horsepower and just put the trucks to 5 mile an hour over the speed limit. That's it. 62 mile an hour is too slow. When you're legally allowed to do 70 mile an hour in some states in a semi, and you're stuck at 62 mile an hour. Talk about bullshit. Now maybe if you just got your CDLs, 65 mile an hour, once he's got some experience behind the wheel, 70 mile an hour. Then 75, maxed out. You got Texas, I think you're allowed to do 80 in Texas. California, 55. California is a shithole. New York is a shithole because of Democrat state. My advice, CDL laws need to change. Seatbelt law contradicts itself, and that's going to be on my safety video. CDL seatbelt laws in Ohio contradicts itself. You have headlight laws that contradicts itself. You have government people passing laws, smoking and drinking on the job. And lawmakers need to go through drug testing just like we do. If we got to take a drug test to get hired into a company, I think the government people need to go through the same thing we do. Government lawmakers, Congress, representatives, senators, even judges should take a drug test random days. It can be every 30 days, 60 days, or 90 days. When it comes up, drug test. I think these lawmakers need to take a drug test because stupid ass laws, gun laws, need to be, if you're legally allowed to carry, it should be all 50 states in your home state. If you live in your semi, you should be able to protect yourself. Weight limits like 30,000 and higher should be Class A or B. Anything under that should be non-CDL. Over ticket should be for the company, not the driver. 11 hours need to be 12 to 14 hours. Two options. You can drive every 12 hours. If you see a nice place to stop on your phone, you stop to use the restroom and you look on your phone, oh, I got another hour of driving, but 3 hours up, I can find a nice good place to stay. You click the button on your app and request that spot to be okay in 3 hours. So you're taking a truck stop. I'll be there in 3 hours. That spot's protected from me. I just came up with that. You got apps with trucking. A trucker can see, oh, another hour or two, I could be up at that truck stop and have a nice place to sleep. And you go, that parking spot's mine. I just claimed it before I get there. When I get there, I've already paid for that parking spot when I clicked it. I get in there, I see my parking spot number, I pull right in there and take it. Somebody decides to grab it before me, they would have to move. Because the number on, if they click the stop, they can see it's been taken. And they can get in there and sleep. And that truck driver parks in a spot that I just paid for. They can make him move it, or he gets pulled out by the wrecker. That's what they need to start doing. Protecting truck drivers that found a spot. Oh, they've got a lot of freaking spots. I better claim my spot before I get there. Clicks the spot. That parking spot with the number on it, I just bought it for the night or day. So I have good ideas. And I want to work with these lawmakers to make it better for truck drivers. If you think or you like my ideas, you want it to happen, click like, leave a comment, add something to it. I see videos all the time that they say if I had a choice to delete something off of trucking, the number one thing was brokers. I agree. Brokers need to go. Companies can get onto apps and freaking say, hey, I got a truckload going from here to there. An owner-operator that's put his DOT and MC number in the app. He pays, say, $50 a month to use that app. He can go, I could be there in an hour. Click the button. I just got me a load. I just had to grab something. But having that app made for people instead of brokers. Brokers are our biggest ripoffs. Like, what's that one company called? TQL. They're making 60% of the trucking things, and they're not even shipping. They're a broker. They're the biggest ripoffs is brokers. Brokers should only get 10 to 15% of the freight. And the people that owner-operators should get the rest. Or the companies, or whatever it is. Brokers are the problem of this country. Greedy-ass people having signs up like TQL. I think that's how you pronounce it right. Making 60% off of that and then giving shitty-ass runs to owner-operators that are struggling because of not making enough money. 60% is not enough for the truck drivers. Brokers should only get 10 to 15, maybe 20%. Nothing else. And I'm calling out the fucking brokers because you are the biggest ripoffs for these truck drivers. And truck drivers, if you think, leave a comment. Why do you think the brokers are the biggest ripoffs? If you agree, share and like this video. I would like to see this go, what do you call it? Where I get 1 million, 2 million views. This stuff here needs to change. The CDL laws need to change. They need to do away with the brokers, or the brokers need to have, they can only charge so much to ship the stuff. To me, they should just do away with the freaking brokers. To me, that's the biggest ripoffs. Cutting people's throats. Well, we're making millions and billions of dollars. That's your problem. TQL has spent all their money in stadiums. supporting stadiums. Why? Why are you making yourself look so big? And TQL, in east of Cincinnati, Ohio, in Eastgate, we get off at 32, has filed bankruptcy, and they added to that building on both sides. And one side, they made it big. And they filed bankruptcy while they're building it. And now they're hiring more people to take the loads and take 60% of it and give the rest to owner-operators to cut their throats even more. So I'm calling it out. Brokers need to go. Brokers should be banned from shipping unless they have their own damn trucks with company drivers. Brokers need to go. And if you agree with me, I want to hear your opinions on 26,000 needs to change to 29,000 and something pounds. 30,000 should be Class A or Class B. What do you think? Overweight tickets should go against the company, not the company driver or owner-operators, when he has no way of controlling how it's loaded. 11 should go from 12 hours up to 14 in some cases. So you can do every 12 hours or 14 hours and 10 hours off. I think they need to let things slide a little bit. I think companies need to add an extra axle on the truck and trailer. Even a drop axle on the truck. And add a third axle on the trailer. So I'm calling out the trucking outfit. You got your postal service. You got your UPS, FedEx. You have Yellow Freight. You have all kinds of trucking outfits. Roadway. You have... There's so many trucking outfits that I want to know what you think about this. I know it's a long video, but I'm trying to prove a point. And these 5 things, I want to know what your opinion is on it. I got my brother's opinion. 11 hours need to go to 12 to 14. 2 different options. 12 hours on and off, or 2 drivers in a truck. 14, say one day you have to drive an extra hour up to get a nice, good place to sleep. You have another thing I want to talk about is you got freaking little cars that brake check semis, slows them down on the highway just to play with them. You're going to get yourselves killed. 80,000 pounds If you got more axles, it could be 100,000 pounds coming at you. You're an idiot. And here's another one. You're driving down the road. I seen this on a video, I think yesterday. They're trying to collect insurance. Every semi should have a dash cam. And you should record. You have 2 lanes and you're over in fast lane. You go over to the right lane. No, he was in the fast lane. The guy kept on hitting his brakes, trying to slow the trucker down. Another car in the slow lane was stopped. No one else in front of him. To me, I use my brain. I see they're trying to stop me so they can jack my load. I'm not stopping. I got it on video. I would have a video in front of me. I would actually buy one of them. You go to Harbor Freight and you get 4 cameras. And they're wireless. You freaking put one in front of you. You put 2 going back so they can videotape cars coming up beside you. And you have one on back of your semi-trailer where you can actually get up there and snap it on. It can be right there at the bumper. I would say higher so people can't touch it as easy. But you can put it right there on your bumper facing back. So you're driving down the road and you look up and you can see somebody behind you. You can see them on their hood like they're trying to cut the lock to open the door and start throwing the stuff outside. Something. Because people like this will find a way of getting that load, and you look up and you see that person behind you, or having a screen over on the dash where you can see the vehicle behind you, like they are doing that, trying to cut the lock. They're doing something behind the truck. That's when you freaking hit the air brakes and make them crash right in back of you. Because they're a foot off your bumper. They're doing something they're not supposed to. That's my advice. I would have one of them that goes to the 4TB. We can record night vision, anything. Protect yourselves at all cost. Companies should put that in their semis and be mandatory to have cameras. You can design 6 cameras, 2 on top of the mirrors facing forward, where you get 2 different views, 2 facing backwards beside the truck. You have 1 in front of the grill, and you have 1 behind your trailer. Should have 6 to 7 cameras. That's what they need to do. All companies should have it on their trucks. Protect your own trucks. GPS on there if they do get taken. Have the trucks with a number that state patrols can actually look into the cameras and can see everything. I would work with the state, the police officers. Stay off my drivers. Let them have the camera feed. People driving, playing on their cell phones, doing stuff they're not supposed to be doing. Harassing a truck driver, that should be a felony offense. That's my opinion.